Okay, today we are going to make this flower block that I designed, and we're going to break it down into 4 quarters, 4 smaller blocks that come together to make the flower block. So this is 1 quarter that I already made, and then I'm going to demonstrate this in the video, and then you'll make 1 more of each of those to put them all together. So if you look at the 1 quarter, it's also composed of 4 little blocks, 4 smaller squares that have quarter circle cuts on them. So if I made one already, you can see that would go right over that. So that's the 1 block, that's 1 quarter of this block. The block will finish at 18 inches. So the math is a little tricky, so I've written a tutorial and I'm also going to demonstrate the cutting so that we don't get confused. Circle pieces before, and we're just going to, this is the way we want it to look when it's done. As this is supposed to come out a little further because we've added some seam allowance. And here's our 2 centers that are marked by notches. We're going to flip it right sides together, and now we're going to sew this. We're going to just shift this like that and begin sewing. You can put a pin or 2 in it if you want. I'm going to move it to 1/4 inch, and I just keep moving this fabric back to align with the edge and sew it at 1/4 inch. And you can see the notches are lining up beautifully. Let's go right past our middle. A little too far there. And if you have a little extra, just kind of brush it back to the back and side, and we'll just keep realigning this to the edge. And there we go. We'll do all 4 of them that way. One more step that we need to do before we can sew these 4 squares together. So I'm going to go ahead and arrange them as like it would go next to that one. So these 2 go opposite, and this will be this way in the corner. We're actually going to turn the block, so these are side by side in a minute, but and the green goes to the outside like that. So before we can sew these together, each of these blocks have to be trimmed to an even 5 inches, and they'll lose a 1/2 inch. And the seam allowance is 1/4 inch on each side. We'll make it a 1/2 inch smaller. So our finished size of these little squares will be 4.5 when they're sewn together, and it will give us a 9-inch block, and then 9 and 9 is 18, and overall they'll be 18 inches. So that's the math on this. So I'll just show you how I trim these. This is kind of wonky here, so I just trimmed. You can line it up and trim a little bit straight off there, and I can line this up. I can see it's, I'm going to line it up on the grid here and just line up my ruler, and I'll make the corner nice and straight, and then I'll take this and measure 5 inches. Let's get the wrong corner. Put the 1 by 1 away from me, and I'll just move this up to 5-inch line here and the 5-inch line here, and I will go ahead and trim. Oops, this is bent back. So there we go. I'm right at 5 on the corner here, 5 on both sides, and I'll trim this way and this way. Oops, didn't quite cut through. So once they're all cut to 5 inches, then I would just sew the 4 together, and this one will actually go like this, and the green pond will go opposite. This will go here, and this will go here, and that'll be the top half of that flower square, and we'll do 2 more of these for the bottom half, and they'll be opposite these 2 colors in the middle. But these get trimmed to an even 5 inches square and then sewn together. Once they're sewn together, as you can see here, they'll finish at 4.5 inches square, and I still have a 1/4 inch to sew it to the next block. But once this is completely stitched in, it'll be 4.5, and together they'll make a 9-inch block, and our 4 9-inch finished blocks will be 18 inches. And so that's how you assemble this block.